Well, people will keep filtering in, but let's get started. So I'm David Farmer, and Oscar Levin, Steven Clontz, and I will be running this workshop. This workshop is intended for people who have heard that PreTeXt is good for accessibility and for creating interactive material. And if you're also worried that PreTeXt is hard to use, then this is the perfect workshop for you because we're here to show you that it's not. Okay. Before we get around to doing some work, I want to answer an obvious question, and that is why do you need PreTeXt instead of something like Markdown or LaTeX? A partial answer is that if you're only writing simple things and you're not particular exactly about what accessibility means, then Markdown and LaTeX are perfectly acceptable. But that's only a partial answer because the real question is, I've heard PreTeXt is hard. Why can't we use something easy like Markdown and LaTeX? So I have two answers to that. One is good news. We're going to be demonstrating something called PreTeXt.Plus, which is kind of like Overleaf, except you can write in PreTeXt or LaTeX or Markdown, and you can even mix them together. Now, in what our demonstrations and when we have you doing stuff, we want you to be using PreTeXt because we want you to realize it's actually not that hard to use, but also it's better in an important way. And that is the mindset you have when you write PreTeXt is different than how you think about LaTeX or other ways of writing. The idea of PreTeXt is you're trying to describe the structure of your document, what it is. Okay. So most of us think visually. So if you open a newspaper, you see a headline, or if you flip open a book, you see, oh, there's big words. That's the title of a section. But um, to make things accessible, it has to be done so that it's not only visually, and things like this is a section, this is a theorem, this is a list. You're saying what it is without regard to what it looks like. And Oscar will repeat this, and so will Stephen, this idea as they're giving you examples. But the power of PreTeXt is that when you describe the structure of your document, you can then transform it into other forms that don't require you to micromanage what it looks like or how things work. Okay, so um, we'll get into that in more detail. All right, so the first thing that's going to happen is that Oscar's going to write a worksheet in PreTeXt. And what we want you to do is just watch what he does. So he's going to be doing it in PreTeXt+. Just observe what he's doing. You don't need to take notes. Don't try to do it along with him because right after he does that, he'll do it again. And then you'll go in step by step with him through the entire process yourself. So you'll see how to do it. Okay. Oscar, anything else we need to say before you give us our first demonstration?
No. Thank you very much, David. Yeah, so like David said, I'm just going to show you what like a standard workflow would be if I realize like, oh, I forgot to prepare for class in 10 minutes. I need to quickly write an activity that I want to be able to post on my learning management system, which happens to be Canvas, and also print out and bring to class with me. And my department chair happens to be here today, so when I said I haven't prepared for class for 10 minutes, that's not what I meant. I would never do that personally, but hypothetically speaking. Okay, so let me quickly share my screen. Which means I have to move windows around, of course. All right, so you should now be seeing a web page that is at PreTeXt.Plus. I go to start writing. I'm already signed in my email. I'm going to create a brand new project. So I'll go to new project. And because I want to just modify someone else's worksheet instead of doing everything from scratch, I'm going to start from a template. And printable worksheets is one of the templates. So I'm going to click that and use that. Now this is going to load an editor here. I don't think I need the table of contents here, so I'm just going to minimize that. And I see here, okay, I have this worksheet. And lucky enough for me, I'm going to be talking about row echelon form today in class, so I actually don't have to modify anything here. Maybe I want to make this more emphasized, so I'll put an exclamation point there. And I have row echelon form. So I can see the preview on one side. I get the way I look, the way I want it to look. It's looking pretty good. Yes, I like that. That all looks good. I, of course, would edit this as I was going to make it be exactly the questions I want, but then I'll go ahead and save that. And I'm taken to a page where I can either continue to write or I could build a version of this website. We start with a default website output target. I'm going to go ahead and build that one. And this is the preview that we saw just a second ago. That's just a live preview. It's not exactly what it's going to look like in the end. Now I can actually see what happens when I built this. You might notice that the styling is slightly different. That's because by default, we use this style for it. And this is something you can change and edit if you don't like this particular style. But this looks good to me, so I'm just going to close that tab and go back here. Currently, I can see that preview, but no one else can. I want to make it public so my students will be able to see it. So I'll just click this Publish button. And now that I have done that, let's see, I can look at the public link. So I'll click on this public link here. And that takes me to, notice this was in dark mode. I can change that because PreTeXt has reading features like that. So here I see the published version. And this website right here, that's something that now anyone can see. That contains this printable worksheet. What I want to do, though, is I want to give this to my students so they can see. And I don't want them to have to go to that URL. So I want to put this inside Canvas for me. There is a embed this page button here, and that just contains an iframe code that I'm going to paste into my learning management system. So I'll copy that, and then I'll go over to my Canvas page. Maybe I'll create a new page. Today's activity. And oh, I've already done that one. Row echelon form. Okay. The way you do this in Canvas, it's different learning management systems are all a little different, but for Canvas, there's this embed cloud button here, and I can now just Control V to paste in that iframe code. Hit submit. Okay, and it put the contents of that page directly in Canvas here for me. I can hit save and publish. And now any one of my students will be able to see exactly this. Now, I happen to include some answers here. Maybe I didn't want to do that. We can talk about how to fix that later. Oh, I need to bring this to class though. So what I want to do now is I want to click that print icon, and now I see I get a nice printable version that has some space for students to write on these two pages. And then if I go to this print here, I'll be able to just print it out using my favorite printer. Or I could tell my students to do this and they could save it to a PDF so they could bring it on their iPad. Notice also those solutions, those answers disappeared. That's because under my additional printing options, I decided to hide answers. I put them in there for maybe my own copy that I want to print out. Now I have those answers for myself. I could also put in some headers like math 221 and name. I wanted this to be something that they turn in, and that would print as well. So that is what I would do on a daily basis if I was just needed a quick in-class activity or worksheet to be able to print out for my students. Obviously, I've skipped over a lot of the actual authoring stuff. So when we go through this again, we'll step through the steps a little more slowly, and we'll actually see what it takes to create this mathematics and these different exercises. So why don't we all go to PreTeXt.Plus and go to Start Writing. You'll have to sign in if you're not signed in already. Otherwise, you will just see a demo of it, which you can play with, but you can't save anything.
Yeah, let's definitely give everyone a minute to, if they haven't made an account. You don't have to confirm your email yet or anything like that. Just enter an email, make up a password. That'll give you an account. Later today, I'll be showing you how you can avoid all this. If you love LaTeX because you love to install things on your own computer, don't worry. We're going to show you how you can export for PreTeXt Plus and use that with your local copy of PreTeXt as well.
All right. So now that we are all ready to start a new project, we can go and click the New Project button. You do have a few options here. If you already have a LaTeX document, if you have like a worksheet that you have already that you've already typed up, say in LaTeX, you can import an existing document here. Or um, if you don't want to have all of the stuff that's already pre-populated as that example, you can create a new empty document. But for now, let's go to Start Project from Template. And we'll do a printable worksheet. That's what I just did. And you get the same thing that we were just looking at. This worksheet was provided by Chrissy Safransky, who has done a lot of great support with PreTeXt over the years. So we thank her for that. Okay. Like I said, I'm just going to hide this table of contents here. We'll see another version, another example later on. Steven's going to show us how to design an entire course. So you don't have individual documents, but you have one big course document. And then this table of contents will become very useful. For now, let's just close that. Actually, I think I want to change this title because I already have one that's exactly this. So I'm going to change, this is just the title of the project. So I will say demo worksheet here. You can call it whatever you want. Just hit enter to get that. That way I can find it later in my list of projects. Okay, probably the first thing we want to do is change the title of this. This is not one of the worksheets for that class. And actually here we're going to need that table of contents sidebar. If you click up here in this kind of grayed out region, that will open up this. We don't want you to mess this up because if you don't have the article tags and the title tags just like that, then things might not compile. But we can change the title here to be something like my best worksheet. I still want it to be an article. That's one of two document types that you could choose. If you had a bigger document, you might change it to book. Okay, and the ID can be the same. This ID document, that's more useful for later things if you want to refer to something for a cross-reference. That's what that would be for. Okay. Save that. Notice the title is now My Best Worksheet. Okay. The actual worksheet here, and this gets at what David was talking about earlier about we want to describe the structure of our document. The overall structure of our document is a worksheet type thing. That's kind of a generic name for anything that you might give to students that has exercises in it. It's just what we call it. So it's a worksheet, and you can actually see if I collapse this. I'm going to format PreTeXt, just make the formatting look nice. If I collapse this, you can see the whole thing. This whole document is just a worksheet. PreTeXt is in this form, this XML form. You've seen HTML that behind websites kind of looks like this. You have your angle bracket tag, like around my head there. It is a nested structure, and a good model to think of this is it's a bunch of boxes that live inside other boxes. So the overall box that we have is a worksheet box, this entire thing. And if I expand that out and actually look at it, I can see that inside the worksheet is a title box. And the title box contains text, which is the actual title. So if I change that, I can change that to be something like fun, discrete math puzzles. Okay. The next box that I see is an objectives box. And here I can collapse that too. You can see I just have an objectives box. Maybe I don't have that at all. I'm just going to get rid of that for now. If I did not have an objectives box there and I wanted one, I could get it fairly easily by, I just hit tab a couple times to make things lined up. Now I'm just going to hit the less than key, shift period, and I can see a list of different things that I could properly put after a title in a worksheet. Objectives is one of them. I kind of need to know that objectives is the type of thing I want, but objectives. And now if I hit enter, it will give me the two sides of my box, the opening and closing. And inside of an objectives, I might want to have my first bit of text, which would have to be inside a paragraph. So I would do less than P. Oh, no, I wouldn't, because objectives is weird. Objectives is just a list. So I could do an ordered list, OL. You get used to these pretty quickly, especially if you have an example to work off. OL, and OL is a special type of box, ordered list. That box contains list item boxes, LI, and each LI, you can structure them with a paragraph P. And now I can write some text. See how much fun discrete math can be. Yeah, I'll do that. Maybe there's just one objective. Okay. So, of course, you could fill this out more if you wanted. If I wanted to have another list item here, I would just go down to the next line and again, start typing less than L. There's only a couple options. So I'll do another list item, learn stuff. Let's look a little bit further here at what some other sort of things we have. Something that's specific to worksheets and also handouts, which are very similar to worksheets, is that we can break up our bigger division of a worksheet into pages. Notice over here in this preview, there are no pages. You don't see any pages because on a regular website version of your PreTeXt output, you wouldn't see pages. But these pages will give good hints to this print preview button, which doesn't work in this view. This is just a live preview. But when we get to this page, that's what told us to have a page break after question 2 and before question 3. So we have a page box, and inside a page box, we're going to put some exercises. Each exercise is a box that contains other things. And another thing that is specific to worksheets is this idea that we can put a workspace. This is an attribute on the exercise element. You just say workspace equals 1.2 inches. But you know what? Let me start writing a new one. Oops. Exercise. And then if I go up here, I think if I hit the @ symbol for attribute, I can start doing workspace. And if I hit enter, it gives me that. I could say like 3 inches. You can use inches or centimeters, whatever you prefer. Okay. I'm just going to get some extra space here. White space like this doesn't change anything, just makes it easier to see what you're writing. Okay, so what should be in my exercise? One thing I could do for an exercise is to just ask a question right away. The structure of an exercise, what makes an exercise box an exercise box, is that exercises can have a statement, and then they could have some extra stuff like a hint, an answer, and a solution. Because of that, we want to put the question of the exercise in a statement tag. Statement is one of the things I'm allowed to put there. So I'll hit enter statement. And the first thing in a statement is probably going to be a paragraph. So it fills in a P for me. And I could say something like, what is the sum of the, no, let's do something more fun. How about if 10 people all shake hands, how many handshakes have taken place? Okay. Now, that's the end of my statement. I could have multiple paragraphs in my statement, but I think that's good. Let's maybe add a hint. So start typing HI and give me a hint, and I again hit enter, and it just fills it in for me. And my hint might be how many hands does the first person shake? Maybe that's all I want to give as a hint. And if I wanted to give an answer or a solution, I could give those next. Answer we think of as just like the actual numerical answer, 45 in this case, and a solution might be the answer is solution. The answer is 45, which you can see by computing the sum. Ooh, I should probably put some math in here. Now, if I was using LaTeX, I'd use dollar signs for this, but an M for math is probably what I want. So if I hit tab, now I have a math environment, begin dollar sign, end dollar sign, and I could write some math. Now, the way I'm going to write math is just by writing the LaTeX for it. Anything that you would put between dollar signs in LaTeX is you just put them between M tags here. It's K equals 1 to 10 equals 45. Okay. And I can see that solution, didn't get it right. That looks better. Let's look at my solution here. Okay, very good. Oh, but you know what? Maybe I want to put this on a display line. So it's in the center. Well, instead of M, I can change this to MD for display math. Now, if I look at it, yeah, that looks better. Okay. Also want to point out one of my most recent favorite features of PreTeXt. The period goes after the MD, but it's put next to it because that's the way it should look. But I don't care about how it should look when I'm writing it. I'm caring about that the period comes after the math. And then PreTeXt takes care of putting it in the place that most people expect. This separating the way of thinking of, well, how should I type it to make it look this way compared to, I should type it this way because this is what I mean, and I'll let the software figure out the right way to make it look nice. That's what LaTeX was supposed to do, but LaTeX is so customizable that we ended up spending all our time trying to make our documents look nice. If you're trying to make your documents accessible and you want them to be usable by a blind student, looking nice isn't going to be very helpful. You need to have the structure there so that a Braille conversion or a screen reader would be able to actually interpret this and be useful for the student. Okay, so this is the sort of thing I would do to actually start writing stuff. Hopefully you've had a chance to play around and actually start entering some things. Let's just quickly go through the process of what you would do with this when you're happy with it. So you all get a chance to actually follow along. When we're good, oh, it is the sum from 1 to 9. Thank you. Luckily, that just fixed itself automatically. I'm going to save. And now I'm here on the project management page. If I go back to my projects, I've been doing this for a while here while developing PreTeXt.Plus. So there are lots of projects here, but if I go to any of the projects, that demo worksheet was the most recent one. If I click on that, I'm taken to this page to manage it. I have not built it yet, so I want to go to build. Takes a second. If we're all doing it at the same time, this will be a good test because we really haven't tested out our build server with multiple people doing it all at the same time. I can preview it. That's looking, you know what? Actually, I don't really like this style, but I'm happy with the content. So let me just close that tab. I'm going to change the look of my document. I'm going to go up into build settings here. And for the HTML version, that's the one I'm trying to build, the website. I'm going to use a different theme. I'm going to use the Denver theme. Also, I don't like it when it comes out in dark mode. I always want to use light mode, so I'm going to use light only. Okay, so let's save that. And now let's rebuild. And if I preview now, that looks better to my eyes. I wrote this theme, so I like the Denver theme. And the printout button should still work. There's my new thing. I have solutions. I can go up here and I can hide solutions and hide answers and hide hints. I still see my workspace. This has less than an inch of workspace. You can see here if you do highlight workspace, that's how much was requested, but this is how much I actually got because I had pages and I tried to put more workspace than there was available, so they shrunk down for me. This is something I might want to go back and fix after seeing it in this view. Okay. So the only other thing I need to do is I need to go and I need to publish it. And once I publish it, now this public link is at a web address that anyone will be able to see and my students will be able to see. And it just lives there on PreTeXt.Plus's web server for as long as your students need it. If you ever want to take it down, you can unpublish the link and it won't be there anymore. Okay. Are there any questions before we take a short break and switch gears to looking at an entire course?
Right, so there's going to be two more phases to this workshop. So next, Steven's going to demonstrate how to create an entire course in PreTeXt. And we're pretty excited about this. And our hope is workshops like this will get you using PreTeXt and starting it before the semester starts, and then just keeping up doing all of it in a course in PreTeXt.Plus so that you have an entire accessible course by the end of the semester. Then the third part will be this PreTeXt.Plus we're using. It's like Overleaf in more than one way. And another way it's like it is you get a certain amount for free and it costs money if you want to have more. But Steven will demonstrate how everything we're showing you, you can do completely with free software. So that will be the third phase after Steven shows about using an entire course in PreTeXt. Any questions before we take just a 2 or 3 minute break? Okay, we'll look at the questions in chat during the break and then come back.
Yeah, I will just point out that if you wanted a PDF of this, I could create a new output and save it as a PDF and add that output. And then I could build it. Takes a little longer because the way you do a PDF, oh, actually not very long at all. The way you do a PDF in PreTeXt is it first converts it to LaTeX and that converts it to a PDF. If we open this, this would be better for like a larger project than a single worksheet, but you can see that I have my worksheet here as well. It doesn't have the same nice page breaking. And I guess while I'm talking about other outputs, the workflow I showed with having a website published, and then from that pub.pretext plus link, doing this embed button, that works fine. That does mean that this is available to anyone, not just your students, which for the most part, no one's going to guess this address and find your stuff. But if you were concerned about that, there is another way that you could get the content of that website still accessible directly in your learning management system. And that's using something called SCORM. And if you add this output and build it, that creates a zip file that you can download. And then in your learning management system, you will have some way, depending again on which learning management system you have, to upload SCORM packages. And if I upload the worksheets, there, my best worksheet was that one. And I could import that just as a page here because it didn't have any interactive exercises that would be graded anyway. And then I can see that. This lives entirely inside my learning management system and is the entire contents of that PreTeXt web view. So that's another way that you can get this material into your learning management system. All right, I think we will take a short break, just so you can all stretch your legs if you want, or take a couple deep breaths. So we'll be back in, say, 3 minutes at 35 past the hour.
For the bell.
Good to go. Thank you,
All
David.
right, welcome back, everybody. So far we've had a demo of a single worksheet. What we're going to show off now is this template that has a broader course document, a bunch of bells and whistles. I want to kind of show you how to navigate around that. I should probably share my screen if anyone wants to see that, though. So let's go ahead and get that going. All right, I do believe you guys see my screen down here, PreTeXt.Plus/projects. I'm logged in under my university account here. And I've done this. I might show you a bit of what I've actually done for my actual class this fall a little bit later, but I'm going to start from scratch here and use PreTeXt XML. So the new project, this is another template that we have provided for you. And we're hoping to have lots more templates available as community members. You know, PreTeXt has been around for like a decade. There's lots of templates floating around out there where we're looking to gather the best and have them available to you at your fingertips here. But one of these that we've put together is a demo course. So I generate that from the template. All right. And so here's the demo course generated from template. Maybe the first thing that I would do, and if you want to actually follow along and start to, if you think you might use this for your courses in the fall, you can go ahead and do this. I would definitely change the title. If I go back to my projects, you'll see that it's demo course generated from template. That's the title of the thing. If I want to find this later and remember what it is, I should probably uh, go into write back to this edit field right here and edit this. This is my MA 101 Fall 2026 project. And I can actually build a PreTeXt project that has a bunch of different pages for a bunch of different elements of my course. All right, so notice that did not change, even if I refresh, it did not change the title of the document. This is the title of the project, so that we remember that. So I should come in here, the course name. I can't edit it here. I've got to go over here to the sidebar. I'll show you later if you have full PreTeXt installed on your computer, you would just edit this property directly, but we try to make this, give you this nice table of contents over here. So to click this, I can go over here, change the name. This is MA 101 Fall 2026 Documents, perhaps. Oh, I guess I have the subtitle. Maybe I'll say Dr. Clontz's class. There we go. We have the subtitle up here. Now, what you'll see here is that we have subdivided this project into several different chapters. Some of them, most of them, are these plus chapter things right here. This is a feature of PreTeXt Plus. something to help us break down this document for you, make it easy for you to edit just one piece of it at a time. You could also just create as many chapters as you want manually. I'm going to add another chapter, as Oscar showed, by using an opening and closing tag. It'll probably yell at me because I have the same ID here as this other ID. So we'll call this something different. We'll call this hello, and we'll call this world. And so you can create this extra chapter, quote unquote, of this book for your course, this course book perhaps. Uh, but I think PreTeXt and PreTeXt.Plus are both better when you take advantage of the fact that you can separate it out and focus on one piece of your document, your project, especially these big course documents at a time. And so I'm going to eliminate this. And I'll come and fix the homework section chapter here in a bit, but I'm going to go into my course documents first, right here. My course documents are this reference here, chapter course documents. I can go over here to my table of contents and see it refers to this first chapter in this table of contents over here on the left. So if I want to edit the course documents, the syllabus, and the course information, all that fun business, I'll need to click on the course documents in my
Or
table of contents.
Stephen, what would happen if from the main course, if you go back to the top, you double clicked on the preview for chapter one?
Good point. So if I were just to go over here and click on, I want to edit course documents, the obvious thing would be to just click course documents in the preview, and that pops you right over here. It looks like my course documents currently only contains a syllabus. If I want to edit that syllabus, I could click it over here in the table of contents, or I could just click the syllabus in the preview, and that pops me over to the correct place. Um, Oscar knows more of the bells and whistles than I do of this editor. He's put a lot of work into the JavaScript editor for PreTeXt Plus, as well as free and open source PreTeXt that I'll be demoing a little bit later. So now I've dug into this syllabus right here. And I can show you off all the different pieces of the puzzle here. We have an introduction. It's basically a section, like a section of a book, so it can have many subsections. I'm just collapsing them here. So it looks like we have an introduction with two subsections written right here. But what I thought I would do actually is what if you already have a great syllabus already? And what if your syllabus is written in LaTeX? That's crazy, right? Who would do that? Well, many of us, of course, have our syllabi and lots of documents already written in LaTeX. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to trash the syllabus. Goodbye. So it's gone. My course documents are now sad and empty. That's okay. I'm going to go ahead and add a new section by going over to my table of contents. You could type out if you have it memorized. Eventually, it'll be like the Matrix. You'll just know how to type everything out. But if you like to click things, which I certainly do, you just go over here to click Add New Division, and now I can make my new syllabus section. The format's going to be LaTeX. And notice that it switched from all the angle brackets to now the good old backslashes that we know and love for those of us who use a lot of LaTeX to to write things with. Now, I actually don't have a LaTeX syllabus at the ready, so I went on Overleaf actually, and it has a bunch of templates for stuff in LaTeX, and I just grabbed one kind of at random here, pulled up here on my other screen, copy. I'm gonna just paste that in, so we're gonna see what happens here. All right. So it's taking a bit to crunch through all that. Also, I have too many programs open on my computer right now. You see it is updating right here though. All right, and we're making a little bit of progress here. Here's the thing about LaTeX. LaTeX is wonderful because you can do anything. It's also awful because you can do anything. This is why it is inherently inaccessible because you could create things. It is meant to create beautiful visual mathematics, correct? That was kind of the reason it was created, which means it focuses very much on presentation. Where do things appear on a page, not what is the content that you're trying to express in a semantic fashion that would work for all readers. And so there's going to be a lot of stuff. Don't touch this. I'm absolutely going to touch this. In fact, everything before the begin document is all usually that preamble is set up in order to get you to configure the visual things that you don't have to worry about when you're authoring in PreTeXt or LaTeX style PreTeXt. So I can delete that. Similarly with the make title. I've already got my title up here. It's a syllabus. I can get rid of that. Blank lines. The first bit of content I do actually need to make adjustments for, and I think this is something that probably in the not too distant future we'll remember to have a catch for because we have support for tabular in LaTeX style pretext. We just don't have support for this little star, which is the way a lot of people will make a unnumbered table in LaTeX. And so I'm just going to delete this star here, and it says, "Oh, your beginning doesn't match your end." That feels good. It feels like LaTeX to me. So I'm going to fix that. And now you can see we actually have here the makings of a proper table right here. We still have a little bit of all this extra at symbol, extra. This is all presentation stuff. Dismiss, go away, because we have beautiful pretext templates to handle the presentation for us at the same time as making sure that this content is readable by anybody in any format, not just the HTML we're looking at, not just a printed PDF on a page. And so with a little bit of massaging, you can see here that I've got the makings of a syllabus from a LaTeX source. If I scroll down, you'll see Big Skip. That's something else that probably we should just add to our list. We're always making a list of things people put in their LaTeX. They were like, okay, that's something that's presentation. We can just strip it out or skip it. So we'll probably add that to the list soon, along with all of our H lines and H spaces and H fills, all that fun business right there. But it's not terribly ah, and Oscar has very kindly annotated my screen with the give feedback feature right here. So if you see something is broken or something that is confusing or something that could be better, click that. I especially love it when people use this feedback form instead of just emailing me directly. I'm happy when you email me directly as well. Steven at PreTeXt.Plus, Oscar at PreTeXt.Plus, David at PreTeXt.Plus. Really easy to find us. But if you use this, you can actually click this and show us exactly what it is you're looking at that time. We can go in, we can look at what you're actually editing. Actually, Oscar, I need your help with something. Could you go? I'm going to share this project with you. Could you help me out with this syllabus? I really need your input on it.
Sure.
Are you logged? Which email are you logged in with right now? Are you using PreTeXt Plus or
Oscar.Levin at Gmail, please.
at Gmail? I could really use your expert opinion on this document here. So now oscar.levin at gmail.com can now edit this project. I'm going to go in and write here. All right, I need your help with the syllabus here, cleaning this up for me a little bit because he knows the LaTeX style pretext better than I do, to be honest. Oh,
Yeah, I
there we
don't
are.
think we need this that V skip.
Oh, thanks for getting rid of that. Okay.
Big skip can go
Big
away.
skip, get rid of that. I'm gonna go ahead and refresh it now that you've done that. It would also do it automatically. I was just impatient. And we can see here that now I don't have to do anything. I just let Oscar do all my work for me, right? So if you have that colleague, that great colleague that can do your work for you, you can absolutely share your PreTeXt Plus document with them. This is the one thing that I'm going to show you how to install PreTeXt on your own computer. I can't tell you how to tunnel your own computer onto somebody. You could actually go on Zoom, I guess, and share screen controls. But this is something we're really excited about. As someone who's used Overleaf for a long time to collaborate with other people on technical math documents, having this live collaborations, co-authorship feature on PreTeXt Plus is going to be very useful for us right there. So, I think that is and no, I'm going to show one more thing because we have support for LaTeX style pretext. The other thing that you may want to do is quickly get out a new page onto your pretext website. All right, I've got these course notes. Oh crap, it's week 3. I forgot to make my course notes for week 3. I better do that real quick. So I'm going to go in and add a division for week 3. And oh my gosh, pretext has so many opening and closing tags. If you just want to write text and it look okay, in general on the internet, Markdown is your answer. And we have support, of course, for Markdown as well. If you're on this call and you're used to something, it's a Corto or R Markdown, these other sorts of Markdown flavors, you're going to be right at home with Markdown style pretext as well. We took a lot of inspiration from Corto in particular as we developed this way of writing pretext. So now I can really quickly introduce my lesson. Oh, thank you, Oscar. Don't do it okay. Yeah. No, see, don't on the bottom of have you ever done this? You edit it with somebody else, don't never on the bottom. Oscar, come on. Thank you. Whew. We got blank lines. We're great. All right. So he's going to write the introduction because we're co-teaching here apparently. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And again, this is all markdown. If you're used to writing markdown, this is exactly what you're used to doing. Hashtags will get you. Come on, you're getting the picture here. All we're doing is writing in what's called markdown, and markdown is basically take plain text. The way that you would naively write a list is a bunch of dashes or maybe a bunch of asterisks. It's a really ugly list I've chosen to write here, but it works right there. Math is cool. It's really cool. We have emphasized by using these asterisks, so the way you would do if you were typing an email, you didn't know how to hit Control I, you could put asterisks around it. We have, of course, our math support right here. I'm just going to let Oscar do all the writing. I'll just narrate because it's great. Sine of x is never equal to 2. I absolutely agree with you. We should make this display math, though, because that's, of course, a very important formula that we want to make sure. And this is all, the math bits you'll notice here. Once you go into math mode in Markdown, just like most implementations of Markdown on the internet that support mathematics, inside of those dollar signs, good old-fashioned LaTeX math mode markup. So backslashes have their day in the sun again, right there.
I want to highlight something that Katie put in the chat about when we're doing this markdown stuff or this LaTeX stuff. These are actually behind the scenes being converted to PreTeXt and displayed automatically. So all the accessibility you get from PreTeXt, you get using these formats. These are really useful if you already have something on those formats, or you just really, your fingers have learned how to type that, and it's just faster for you to type them. They are shortcuts to getting your PreTeXt that actually lives there. And Stephen, if you click on display full source, you'll see what this is
I did it
actually
while you were
converted
talking.
to.
Yeah, I'll do it again.
And after that, if you add me as a collaborator, I can add that sine x is never 2 when x is real, but it could be when x is complex. Someone wanted to see you add someone again. So if you,
Oh,
I'm not gonna,
absolutely. So
yeah.
you can add. Now we'll have to. This is the caveat because we have server costs to pay. You only get one collaborator if you're not a subscriber. We apologize for that, but maybe we'll be able to increase that. I believe that's also the default that Overleaf has currently for collaborators. Without, like, if you're not subscribing, Tan's giving you the thumbs up. I think we based it off of that as a reasonable way to manage our server costs. So, but I'll go ahead and add. Which email should I use for you?
You can use David at PreTeXt.Plus. I'm not actually going to do it. Someone asked that. And that button called save really should be labeled save and manage because that's how you go manage the project. So I think we'll change that and then it'll be easier to see what to do.
Yeah. So
Right. So
basically, you
that
have.
save button, yeah, should really
Yeah.
say save and manage.
I think it used to say save and dot dot dot, and we changed it back. But we could always make it save and manager. But the idea is there's basically two modes of creating your project. There's the writing mode that we're in right now, and then there's the save and manage. Or you save it when you're writing, and then you go to manage. If you're on the projects list, you can either go into write mode or manage mode directly. So if I want to manage it, if I decide, oh, I should actually make this a website, so now I'm building it. And again, what it's doing there when it's building it, oh, and it was a private project, but now it's unlisted. Because PreTeXt, it's software, it has to go through and read it and process it and turn it into a bunch of HTML files. Normally, you have to install software on your own computer, as I'm going to show you, or on a cloud computer, as I'll show you here in a little bit. But we have a server that does the building for you. That was kind of a big stopping point historically for people to get into PreTeXt, was just installing the right version of LaTeX because PreTeXt turns things into LaTeX, turns things into PDF, especially if you have your TXT images and whatnots. And so we decided we're just put a server on the internet to help everybody write their PreTeXt without having to deal with a bunch of installations. Um, okay, I think. Do we have time for me to go through it one more time so people can follow along? Do we think, or do we need to go ahead and take our break? Where are we at here?
No, I think if you wanted people to follow along, we don't need a break. You should just have them do that.
Okay. So let's go ahead and I want to go through this one more time. It's a little bit more slowly, narrating what I've just done. That way we can see how are we going to, and you could actually maybe start writing stuff for your class this semester. And so the way you start a project, whether you want to do a worksheet or a new course or something from scratch, you go to your projects here at the top, new project. Here's why, by the way, I forget if we mentioned this before. Here's where you can take an existing project. I actually don't have any existing projects other than pretext projects, but you can actually take a zip file even and upload it, and we'll do our best to get that ready for you on PreTeXt.Plus. But what we just did right now, though, that I'm actually demoing, is the demo course right here. Here's the printable worksheet template that Oscar used earlier. Here's the demo course. All right. And so again, to customize this, the first things you want to do probably are set the titles of things. The title of your project is right up here. You can edit that. I did Math 101, so this is Math 201, I guess. This is just for your internal purposes of knowing the name of this project. If you can't edit it, it's because it wants you to go over here and do it over here in the properties. This is MA 201 documents. A subtitle is for Dr. Clontz's students. Go. And now I've customized my title, my course title, my document title, and then my subtitle right here for Dr. Clontz's students right there. Save that. It keeps scrolling for me because I keep accidentally clicking one of the future chapters right here. Let's see. I want. Is that good? Are we caught up with it with chat for all the questions in there? All right.
I think so.
Awesome. So then I don't think I actually quite finished my overview of the things that are in the sample course. So this is a great time to do that. Is I've got course documents for things just generic documents like a syllabus. Anything else I want to share with write up and share with my students, any pages I might want to make. I've got course notes, which in this sample are grouped by week, but you can group it by learning outcome or by a chapter of your book, however it is you want to do things. I'll do that real quick. This is probably a good demo. Maybe I don't like week 1, week 2. I'll just go over here and rename it to chapter. We actually start at chapter 5. This is a Calculus 2 course, apparently. So we'll start chapter 5. Just go here. I can either click week 2, or I can go here and edit the properties right here. Chapter 6. We have these in-class activities. And again, notice that every time you have a printer icon, if you try to click in the preview, we need to get rid of this because it doesn't work in the preview. Apologies for that. Just refresh your page. It'll be fixed. Something I noticed earlier today as we were preparing for this. So always add to the list. Give the feedback and yell at us. It's totally fine. We're trying to make it better day by day. But now I'm at the intro activity here. If I want to actually see what it looks like printed, I'll just go ahead and save. And I'll build it as a website. And you don't have to share to print these things out. Once you build your website, it failed. Oh no, I must have had something I mistyped earlier. That's the thing about live demos, I suppose. So I'll troubleshoot that later. Let's go ahead and continue on with the demo, the tour here. So we've got the in-class activities, and then we have homework. And you see here, this is really great because it kind of gives you a tour of the different tags that are available. We have a worksheet, which has pages. We've seen that. That's what Oscar started us out with today. That's how the homework is structured in this document. The activities is also a worksheet with different exercises. That's why they're printable. The course notes are just parts with different handouts right there. And that's what's wrong. I don't know why these things are parts. We need to make that impossible to do, Oscar. They should be, because I'm in a chapter, these should be sections. Usually it's aware. I think I must have hit an edge case that what made it not aware that you're in a chapter, so it should only allow me to make sections. But there we have that. Now that should be fixed. And so in the sections, I had various handouts, and each handout is printable as well, right there. Um, so that's kind of the tour there, and hopefully this is also giving you some time to click around and play around with it yourself. Did anything else come up in the chat with this course template that people wanted that I should address for everybody?
Yeah, so if you go to save, or actually, why don't you unfix the thing you just fixed?
Sure. All right.
Take
So
one of
this is
those apart.
I made
And
this
yeah, that
apart.
was working before, so I have to fix that again.
Yeah, I was about to say it used to not even let
Yeah, I
that
used to
happen.
just be
So
smarter, but
yeah.
okay, so if you go
Well,
to save now, we try to build,
yes. This is a good thing to demo.
failed.
I assume you're talking about the build log.
Yes.
Aha. This is the kitchen sink right here of all the different gobbledygook. If you've written LaTeX before, you're used to this. It is everything that anyone could ever want to know and a bunch of stuff you don't want to know about. But you can see here, it's yelling at me. Something part does not know its level. Part does not know its level. That might not mean anything to you, but it means things to me, David, and Oscar. And it means that we have a part at the wrong part of the project. And so that was the hint. And we should, as we develop this, I imagine we'll be clever about parsing this build log, giving you hints based on what's spit out for the common issues. That's all in the works for PreTeXt.Plus as well as core PreTeXt. This is the great thing about PreTeXt.Plus is that we're really hoping this will make it easier for more people to get involved. We hope people will sustain the PreTeXt.Plus project because then that's going to allow us to make the free and open source PreTeXt software even better for everybody. Very
We have
good.
an, we have another question about hiding solutions and answers.
Yes.
So one thing you can do is if you go to build settings and under the general thing, exercise components, there are different types of exercises in PreTeXt. There are inline exercises that are just right in the middle of things. There are divisional exercises. They're in an exercises box at the bottom. You'd also have worksheet exercises, reading questions, and also projects, and they're similar things. So you can hide answers to solutions to each of those independently, and then save settings. And then if you want to reveal them again, you could do that later. Now, that is a document-wide setting. So if you have a giant, like a course document like this, that wouldn't be the way that you would want to hide them or show them like as a release through the semester thing. There are ways to do that. That has not yet been implemented in PreTeXt.Plus, but it will be soon. But that is a more advanced use case that looking at the PreTeXt documentation or asking us about at one of our drop-in sessions or on our Discord server, we'd be happy to help you with.
All right. Before we take a break, I've got to fix this because it's going to make me feel sad if I leave this broken project. And again, this should be impossible. I would imagine by the end of the week, this will be impossible to make this mistake because we fixed it before. We'll have to, I'm sure it's because I started editing the web editor, Oscar, that I introduced this bug. But in any case, parts don't belong in chapters, sections belong in chapters. Then we've saved that, and I'm going to cross my fingers that was the only error preventing me from building. There we go. And so that's current right there. I can preview it, but I'd really love to share this with my students, so I'm going to publish it. Publishing will make the project's visibility unlisted. Yeah, notice that by default, your projects are private to you. Until you hit that publish button, nobody else can see your project other than the admins. You can send it to us if we need to help you with something. But if you want to get help from a colleague or your collaborators can see your private projects as well. But I want to publish this. That will make my project at least unlisted. Um, there's a profile page for subscribers, and so notice that my unlisted project does not show up here, but I can still share the link with people directly. If I want to make that, if I have a subscription, I want to add this to my profile. I'll make it public, and now my public profile for at Clontz South AL includes this course project. I actually don't want that because this is a demo, but I'll just make that unlisted again.
Okay, so before we take a break, let me follow up on something Oscar said. There's lots of ways of getting help. So this is the first of 3 intro workshops we're having, and things are being developed rapidly. So our next one is on Monday, and everything that went wrong today will be fixed by Monday. So we're really we're working very hard to have this ready for prime time for this semester. All 3 of us will be at MathFest. We'll have something called accessibility office hours at both the AIM booth and the AMS booth. And we're also just generally around ready to talk. After the JMM, we'll have one more intro workshop like this, and then we plan to have more specialized ones. Okay, I'm guessing we'll ask you by email, is there a particular feature you'd like more help with? And then maybe we'll have some specialized things. But even if we don't have those, there's drop-in Zoom office hours almost every day. And if you go to pretextbook.org, which I just posted in chat, and click on the, what's it's called? Get help or something, it explains all the different ways that you can get help. And all that's for free. And you don't even need to subscribe to PreTeXt Plus or anything. We're all dedicated to making PreTeXt free and open source. But there's just certain features that, we have to pay for servers to offer these features, and that's why we're charging, a little bit of money. So there's plenty of different ways you can get help. So there's like drop-in is a great one. And there's people there ready to just, give you help. Okay. Any questions or anything before we take another short break? And then Steven's going to show a non-PreTeXt Plus way of basically doing all the same things. It's if you're used to having everything on your laptop and not being in the cloud, this is the way you would use PreTeXt like that. Okay. All right. Maybe at 10 past the hour, we'll resume. So 4-minute break.
And keep throwing your questions in the chat. If you don't need to hit the restroom, then we'll be happy to answer questions in chat or reply to them while we're taking this quick break. We'll go ahead and pause the recording.
Which is a whole thing. Alt text is a whole thing that's not simple. The PreTeXt documentation explains that pretty well, but how do you do it mechanically, not necessarily how to write a good alt text that Stephen will do and then show you how you work offline.
And I'm actually going to edit an actual project that I'm working on for this fall because as we mentioned this, I was thinking, I don't know if I ever added alt text to my images for this fall. So I'm going to actually get a little bit of work done right now. So in this fall course document, very similar to but it's in Markdown. So that's going to be a little bit different. That's okay. Let me make a copy of this so I don't actually because it's another cool feature I haven't shown off yet. So I'm gonna make a copy of this by sharing the source. Oh, excuse me. Oh, I should add a copy button for myself. I just realized you cannot copy your own project and make a duplicate of it currently the way we have the site set up.
Okay,
All
that's
right.
also for Monday.
It's also for Monday. It'll be fixed. Appreciate all of y'all for being here for the first of 3 workshops. That's like I tell my students. I teach at 9, I teach at 10, and I always tell the 10 a.m. folks like, "Hey, you guys have it lucky." All righty. I'm trying to, okay, something that has images already. Okay, I'll just make a new project. Empty project. And so I'm going to do it in PreTeXt. There are ways to add alt text in the other formats as well. But I'm going to go ahead and add right here at the bottom of this article a picture. Another feature I haven't shown yet is how do you upload a picture. I'm going to actually just take a screenshot of something on my screen right now and paste it in. Hey, Oscar. I was just going to take a screenshot, Control V, and adding it to my project. And now here's the thing. We probably need to make it so that you can add the alt text immediately. But right now you got to go in and edit it. And then right now to add your alt text, you're going to write a short description. That's probably not good alt text though, for David, because you have to know what Jordan Matter looks like to know that Oscar looks like Jordan Matter. Then we have this yeah, sorry, yeah. We
Yes.
had that conversation. The
Rude.
a photo of oops, let's click something. Oscar Levin. All right. And so that's how I'll get my alt text in there. It's actually I haven't put the image in my project yet, so I should take that, copy the embed code, paste it in there. And there's Oscar. That's way too big. What is it? Width equals 50%. There, that's just vanilla pretext right there. If I forget how to make the width equal 50%, I can go up to help and I can go to the pretext sample article. I can go to the pretext guide, and very soon I can go to docs.pretext.plus. We'll have a link there as well. Last but not least, you can email support, or you can go to the Math Tech Discord, or you could do so many things. We have so many people out here who want to help you get started with pretext. So there's lots of places you can go look towards. But if you want to confirm that the alt text is there, I can just go into my web browser. Oops, showing off my mobile mode by mistake. So let me get that preview back pulled up. Let me inspect this image. And you can see right here, the alt text, a photo of Oscar Levin is exposed in that source code that will be caught by screen readers. It'll show up even if I put this in my learning management system through the embed feature, that will pass through. That alt text will be there to communicate to your students who are using screen readers. It will also show up if I were to decide, you know what, I've got a truly blind student who likes to use Braille. I'll click this button and make a Braille output. Build that. And I don't read Braille, so I don't have the but you can see here. There's lots of contractions, they call them in Braille, so this is why it looks like it's gobbledygook, but it actually is the Braille that a Braille reader would actually want to see once you turn it into the dots right there. Okay, very good. So that's the quick interlude of alt text. And again, if you have questions and need support with that, please reach out to the many avenues of support. But the last thing I wanted to show you guys is that you are not stuck on PreTeXt.Plus. PreTeXt.Plus, we launched the beta very end of 2025, just in time for the JMM, really. And we just removed the beta from the title late last night. Oscar merged that into the application. So this is our grand opening day. Thank you for being here with us. But this has been an open source project founded by Rob Beezer a decade ago as MathBook XML. This is all free and open source software, and we truly, to our core, believe in the power and the importance of open source. Um, we're hosting this for people because we know people don't want to deal with all the computer stuff, right? But maybe you want to. Maybe you want to know at least that in theory, if we turn evil, you can download your stuff and run away and not be tied to us. That's all absolutely true. And let me show you how that's going to be done. I'm going to go to my actual. Here's the actual thing I'm going to use this fall. It's actually written in Markdown style pretext. Um, but it's okay. It all boils down to pretext at the end of the day. And the thing I want to show you is this download source button right here. Actually, before I even show you that, maybe you just someone asked in chat, what if I want to host the website myself? Well, if you have an HTML server, you can just download the website as HTML. You get this beautiful zip file right here. And if I go in there, you can see all the HTML files, all the images. It's all right there. So you are not locked into us. You can download your HTML, rehost it somewhere else. Now, if you wanted to update that HTML, you start be doing it by hand, and it would be easy to make a mistake and make it inaccessible or miss a less than or something. The HTML produced by PreTeXt is meant for web browsers. It's not meant for authors. What's meant for authors is, of course, PreTeXt. And so I can download the source right here using the download source button. That gets me a different zip file. I'll open that up real quick. I should zoom in maybe a little bit so people can read the zip file. All right. And what you see in this zip file, if you're familiar with the makeup of the PreTeXt source code, you have this project configuration file right here. You got your publication settings, the whole like show hide answers thing. But the source code is all right here in this PTX file right here. All the images are right there as well. Okay, now what can I do with all that? Well, I need to install PreTeXt. This is not a workshop to learn how to install PreTeXt locally on your own computer, but there are really nice ways to install PreTeXt, and we've done this workshop how to install PreTeXt with something called GitHub Code Spaces. Find that on the mathtech.org YouTube channel, or ask in chat, and I'm sure we can link it to you. But I pre-baked the cake here a little bit. Let me find the web browser where I did that. Here we go. Of course, Oscar, I made the classic mistake and I let it idle too long. It's going to take a moment for it to boot up. But while my actual editor is booting up, that'll take about 30 to 60 seconds. Um, I will show you that I have moved. This was a project that I authored on PreTeXt.Plus. I downloaded it just like you saw me do a moment ago. All those source files got downloaded. I'll go to the main branch so you can see. And I put it on my GitHub. GitHub is a host for open source projects. It's a really very common way to take and share source code for things. And in particular, we have support for it. I'll show you in a moment how that was done. GitHub Pages. So if you don't like PreTeXt.Plus, you don't want to, you're afraid that it's going to go down tomorrow or something, you can host on GitHub Pages. There you go. This is the exact same project you just saw, but built and deployed to GitHub Pages. Steven.Clontz.github.io is my GitHub Pages account. You can see all the information that I have in my PreTeXt.Plus project. I was able to export, and I could rehost it there. I could just upload the HTML there. But what the really nice thing is that you can actually edit the HTML, the pretext in GitHub code spaces. And so you can see right here that this has a bunch of also automatically generated files that we didn't need to upload because they're the same for most PreTeXt projects. And so now we have the same main.ptx file. Those same images got uploaded as well. Let me zoom in a couple of clicks here, perhaps. I don't need this scary terminal because Oscar has this great toolbar right here. Give it a moment to load. But while that's loading here, what are we learning this semester? We want to learn together this semester. There we go. Now we're loaded. All right. I've now changed it so I can rebuild it. It's running the command down here, running that PreTeXt software. And everything's happening right now in the web browser. It's happening on something called GitHub Code Spaces. Maybe you don't trust Microsoft. That's a quite reasonable thing to be a little bit anxious about. You could also open it up in your local copy of VS Code. There's an open source version of VS Code. If you want to keep everything open source to the core, you can absolutely do that. You can install Oscar's excellent PreTeXt Tools extension and run all of that on your local computer, and it'll wire up to GitHub just the same if you like to put stuff on GitHub at the end of the day. But now that I've built it, I can now deploy to GitHub. That's running down right there. Oh, that's why I should have kept the terminal up because it would have shown me all that information. There's the log that just happened right there. It's soon going to be available at my GitHub Pages address. It shows me that right there. But if I'm impatient and just want to preview it, I can click Live Preview. There we go. And we can now see, are we learning together? My edit was reflected in that preview. If I go here, I can see the status on GitHub Pages. It looks like it's done, which means if I go back here and open up the page, go to my course overview. Oh, maybe I had to hit refresh. Just because. Yeah, there we go. Learning together this semester. So you are not tied to PreTeXt.Plus. None of that had anything to do with PreTeXt.Plus. That's just good old-fashioned free and open source PreTeXt right there. I'm a terrible salesperson. Don't use my website. Really don't. Do if you want to, if it's helpful, right? But what I really care about is pretext. What I really care about, and I mean, I care about pretext, but what I really care about is accessibility. I care about that April deadline that all of us at public institutions have staring down at us. And beyond just that, I care about helping our students and giving all of my colleagues and friends the tools that they need to create these accessible mathematical documents. That's why I'm in this game. So. I think that was it. That was not I don't expect you to walk away understanding everything I just did. I only hope that you understand that it is possible. And we have plenty of drop-ins and other workshops that we'll have planned where you can learn how to do any of these various different, we've just shown you, open the door, open the window into the start of how to get started with pretext. And I hope it's been helpful for you. Um, Anything, Oscar or David, that I forgot to address in that spiel?
No, that was good. We just hope that you leave this workshop imagining that you could use this or you could get used to using this routinely.
Just
I agree. We have a few minutes left if there are questions. We're also happy to stick around a little later if you want to stay around if you have specific questions. So if you don't, thank you so much for coming. And we hope to see you at MathFest if you're there or on our Discord server or drop-ins when you do have more questions. Thank you all for coming.
I would hit that stop recording, I guess.
Someone said, how do we find the Discord?